Hi guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. So as the description says, I am going to be debunking sunscreen today. We are going to cover why dermats are so naggy about using sunscreens, reapplying sunscreens, and why are there so many sunscreens in the market? Like what are they addressing? I'm going to try and cover each of them, and I have a few samples lined up also, and I'm going to give you a rough idea as to which skin type should use which type of sunscreen. So if this is something that interests you, please stick till the end of the video and watch it and let me know if you liked how I explained sunscreens. So yeah, let's get into it. What are sunscreens? The word is self-explanatory. It's a screen or it's a shield against the sun. Now the sun, we all know, have various types of UV radiation. The ones which reach our skin and cause skin damage are UVA and UVB sun rays. So these sun rays are responsible for signs of aging, such as fine lines, wrinkles, and they are also responsible for pigmentation. So in order to not allow these harmful sun rays in reaching and damaging our skin, we use protective filters which are present in sunscreens. As you know, most sunscreen come with a SPF and a PA cover. So SPF means the amount of protection it gives us from the ultraviolet B radiation, and PA plus tells us the amount of protection it offers against the UVA radiation. Now, in addition, sunscreens also come with a blue light protection. So the visible light, the blue light, which is emitted from our screens, from our laptop screens, our mobile screens, even the light in our household is known as blue light. Now, blue light also has certain damaging effects on the skin, but not as much as the ultraviolet rays from the sun. So in addition, now sunscreens are giving blue light protection since we are so addicted or so hooked to our screens. So that additional blue light protection is also required. You might have heard of two types of sunscreens. One is a physical sunscreen, which is also referred to as a mineral sunscreen, and the other is a chemical sunscreen, which is also referred to as an organic sunscreen. Now, why these are different is that the way they act, the way they protect the skin is different. So, mineral sunscreens, they just reflect the sun rays. So, once you apply them, they have immediate protection, whereas chemical sunscreens need to be applied 15 to 30 minutes before leaving the house. That is, they need to get absorbed into the skin. And once you go out in the sun, they absorb the light and they do not let it reach the skin. Now, let me break down the term SPF for you. SPF or sun protection factor is the protection, like I said, against the ultraviolet B radiation. Now, what happens? What is the meaning of these numbers? SPF 15, SPF 30, SPF 50. So, all you need to know is the FDA approves SPF 50 as the minimal amount of protection that is ideal for UVB protection. And SPF 50 means that if there is 100 photons of ultraviolet B radiation that is hitting the skin, 98% get absorbed by the sunscreen and only 2 photons reach the skin. I'll put a box here to denote what SPF 15, SPF 30, SPF 80 represent. So minimal that you need to know is that your sunscreen has to have at least an SPF 50 cover. So similarly, speaking about PA, so PA is the protection, like I said, against ultraviolet A radiation. So if it's PA 1 plus, it provides low protection. 2, moderate, and 3 and more is a high level protection. So ideally, your sunscreen needs to have at least PA 3 plus, and 4 plus is great. In addition, now our lip balms have also come with SPF. So SPF 15 provides minimal protection if you don't have long hours of sun exposure. Ideally, SPF 30 in a lip balm should give you a good protection as well. In addition, sunscreens also mention that they are water resistant or sweat resistant. Now, what this means is that if you're going swimming and if you've applied sunscreen, water resistant means that it gives you protection for 40 minutes when you're in water. So you need to reapply it every 40 minutes. And there are also sunscreens which mention that they are very water resistant. So very water resistant means that it gives you protection in water for at least 80 minutes. So every 80 minutes, you need to reapply the sunscreen. Here are some formulations. The first is a cream based, it's a lightweight formulation. The second is a lotion. Third is a emulgel formulation. And fourth is how a tinted sunscreen looks. Now let's look at some of the other things that they mention on the packaging of the sunscreens. So first thing is non-comedogenic. So usually these sunscreens are very lightweight. They're either gel based and they don't leave a very oily skin back. So they get absorbed very easily. So in case you are someone who has acne or who has a very oily skin, go for these gel based sunscreens which mention non-comedogenic. So second thing that they mention is hypoallergenic. So some skins are very sensitive, right? So the most common ingredient in a sunscreen is oxybenzone, which actually leads to some contact dermatitis. So if you have sensitive skin, then look for this hypoallergenic mark on the packaging of the sunscreen. Now, another thing that they mention is obviously their texture. So they will mention whether they are gel based, whether they are matte finish, or they will mention whether they are a weightless mousse and whether they are tinted sunscreens. So that they mention there. And they also mention the kind of tint, like for example on this one it is mentioned that it's a light brown tint. So if that is your skin type, you can go for this. And some sunscreens actually also have different tints which will suit every Indian skin tone. The other thing they mention is that whether the sunscreen is encapsulated or not. So in that case, it means that the sunscreen active ingredients are in micro or nano particles, which actually degrade very slowly with the sun, so they last longer. Now, speaking about lasting longer, you know that dermats would say reapply a sunscreen every 2 hours or every 3 hours. Now, the reason behind this is that the mineral sunscreens, right? They don't degrade, they don't undergo a photo degradation. But with time, the layer of sunscreen that we've applied, it wears off, it thins out with the sweat, with the friction, with the oil production in the skin. So that's why it's important to put another layer so that there is adequate sun protection. Similarly, with chemical sunscreens, what happens is that it undergoes a process called as photo degradation. When the UV light hits your skin, which has the chemical sunscreen, they undergo various processes and eventually they get degraded. So then they are no longer useful in giving you that photo protection. So that's why it's important that we reapply it. Now coming to how much to reapply. So you remember I told you that the sunscreens mentioned SPF 50 or PA 4 plus. Now companies say that if you apply 2 milligrams per centimeter square, then this protection is valid. If you apply anything less, they are not promising this amount of protection. So that turns out to be 2 finger lengths for your face. Okay, so that's very important. If you don't apply the right amount of sunscreen, you are not actually getting the amount of protection that is mentioned on the packaging. So please make sure you apply the right amount of sunscreen. Choose the right sunscreen based on your skin type. If you have an oily skin, go for gel based sunscreens. If you have sensitive skin, look for sunscreens that says they are hypoallergenic. In addition, tinted sunscreens give you that BB cream kind of a look. So in case you're not looking to do makeup and stuff, you can just choose the right shade that matches you and use sunscreens as as a very light makeup option. If you don't wish to have that greasy, oily look after sunscreen application, you can go for sunscreens with a matte finish or with the mousse like finish. So that way you can choose what is right for you. In case you have dry skin and are not looking for the matte like look, you can go for these sunscreens which have an additional ceramide complex with hyaluronic acid, which will hydrate your skin as well. So the many sunscreens in the market are just to suit your skin types and your needs. So based on that, you can decide which one to go for, but make sure you have at least a PA 3 plus protection and an SPF 50 and you apply the correct amount and keep reapplying it every 2 to 3 hours. So that was the video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please share this with your friends so that they also know how to apply the sunscreen right.